Welcome to Podcasters of America, the voice of America's small businesses. I'm your host, Bailey Sanchez, and today we're diving into a story that's as rooted in legacy as it is in bold entrepreneurship. Meet Cate Miller, founder of Flora Co, a floral designer whose journey bloomed from farmers markets to the grand wedding venues of Tahoe and Reno. Inspired by her grandmother, a florist of 25 years, Cate turned passion into a thriving business. One petal, one bouquet, and one unforgettable event at a time. If you've ever wondered what it takes to grow a creative brand from the ground up, or how family legacy can fuel business success, this is an episode you don't want to miss. All right, welcome on to Podcasters of America. You guys, we have Cate Miller here with Flora Co. So I'm so excited to jump into this with you, Cate, because I feel like I've been blessed enough to kind of witness at least a little bit of the stages of your business. When I used to see you, I had Circle S Western Market in Gardnerville, and you used to come in and do some floral classes for us, for our customers. So that was such a fun time. So welcome.
Yeah. Gosh, it feels like ages ago.
I know.
But here we are.
Time passes so quick. I feel like since COVID, I can't keep track of anything. I feel like that was just last year, and I don't know what day or time it is anymore at all.
Yeah.
We just, as business owners too, I feel like our hours just mesh throughout the day. There's no 9 to 5. So
No, there's no quitting. There's no quitting.
There's none. There's none at all. So let's get kind of into it. You had mentioned that you started the business really because of your grandma's legacy, 25 years of being in the floral industry. So give us a little bit of background on how that started and how this influenced you to get into creating a floral company on your own.
Yeah. So I grew up just hearing stories about my nanny. Her name is Carlin. She built this business for herself. And she also worked for wedding coordinating companies as well. And I'm kind of modeling my business after her and what her success brought her. So I think that really has just driven me, and I've been able to ask her tons of advice and really get to hone in on my skills based on her experience. So
yeah, absolutely. Not everybody has somebody that they're related to that has 25 years of experience in the industry that you're building out a business in. So that's a huge blessing.
Yeah.
So does grandma live in Nevada as well?
No, so she's in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
And she's been there my whole life. So I used to fly back and forth to visit her growing up. And she got the opportunity to work with some very wealthy clients who brought in just a lot of new dynamics to the floral industry and what they wanted and their style and what was trending at the time. So she used to go in and just decorate people's homes for the season.
Cool.
Just a never-ending doorway of clients that she just got to use her own creative instincts with. So that's something that I would love to do more of, is to be more of a part of the community and how they perceive their own style and what I can bring to their personal table.
Yeah, we'll actually get to that in a little bit because I am curious with a market like this, you really I feel like your creativity has to be so unique to stand out amongst so many other businesses in the industry. So we will talk about what kind of sets you apart too, because I'm so interested in that. My mom has always been a fantastic floral designer, but never did anything creating a business with it. So I always watch her, and I think it's just so interesting to be able to take these items and make it just jaw-dropping, especially for somebody's big day. So super exciting to get into that. So you had mentioned that you just started at farmers markets before you jumped into weddings and big events. So how did you start the journey with the floral company and starting out just at farmers markets?
Yeah, so, a friend of mine, Taylor, and we started the business in 2022. And then, life takes you places. And so we separated, but I was able to kind of take the time to sit back and see if it's what I really wanted to do. So we started with farmers markets and just got to meet a lot of the community members and see what kind of feedback we got.
And were you just doing bouquets, wreaths? What were you selling at the farmers market?
Just bouquets, just buying wholesale florals and creating them with our design, and then just selling them and then offering those floral services for, in-home projects as well. And, we got a couple clients, got those deliveries going. I had a client that was ordering 6 bouquets every couple weeks in her home. And she has a gorgeous place off of Foothill. And, I still get to see her from time to time when she orders from me. And I love just going in and decorating for her, she has little private house parties with the
Yeah.
neighborhood. And so I'm able to kind of bring in my floral design into her landscape, and it's been great. But the farmer's market really opened that door for me and kind of forced me to choose whether or not I wanted to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's got to be like a very intimate relationship that you build with people too. Cause even though you may
Yeah.
look at it as just flowers, but you're going into people's homes and like curating a space and a feeling for them inside their personal space. So I'm sure
Yeah,
you've got to build a good relationship with those people who invite you in. So that's really cool. Where
absolutely.
do you find to source the flowers? Cause I remember at Circle S at my shop, I remember one, not 4th of July. Valentine's Day, I wanted to
Mhm.
sell flowers. I thought it was a great idea. And I went on to the different websites to source the flowers. And my mind has never been so blown. Like, I'd rather order t shirts all day than to try to find the right flowers to
Yeah.
order. So, how do you go about that?
Yeah, so I have a wholesale license, obviously, and I'm able to source things through my local wholesalers up in Sparks. And I've been working with them for over 3 years, and I can just show them something that, say, a client said, here's a Pinterest photo, and they'll say, all right, we need blah, blah, blah. And we're able to order everything. I go and pick it up, and I'm able to create what I need to create. So,
Are you really hindered by different growing seasons? I'm assuming, since do a decent amount come from out of country?
a lot come out from out of country.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colombia, South America.
Yeah.
So, you do have those limitations sometimes, but I feel most people are ordering florals during the warmer seasons anyway. So it doesn't hinder as much as just maybe limit month to month what you can source. But that's when you would use your floral expertise to say, okay, well, I can't get you, mums, but I can get you dahlias or vice versa, and just learning to maybe compromise and offer your client better sources.
Yeah. Yeah. And are people pretty open to that if they're set on an idea, but obviously there's only so much you can do if something's not growing? Are they pretty open to the idea of different designs?
Yeah, most clients are pretty open to it. If you have a husband ordering for his wife and he says, no, she likes, gardenias, then I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
maybe not.
I feel like a desperate husband will take anything he can get at some
Yeah,
point, though.
yeah.
So you're probably a saving grace to a lot of husbands out there because I remember, again, to reference back to Circle S, the day before Valentine's Day and the day before Christmas, I've never seen so many frantic men under one roof in my entire life. And so I think they really appreciate those women out there who are selling items and really helping them bring home a gift for their wife. So
There's got to
it's
be
an
forward
enjoyable
thinking.
holiday and there's no fighting.
Yeah, yeah.
So going through the farmers market process, how long did you do that for during the farmers markets?
So I was only there for a year,
Okay.
uh, but I feel like that was enough to get my toes wet.
Yeah. Was there a lot of competition at the local farmers markets within the floral industry?
No. So I had one other friend who she grows flowers on her own property. So she was my only competition, but farmers market knows to kind of separate the similar client or
Right.
businesses. So we were able to kind of cover both ends of the farmers market, which is
That's
considered.
awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, even though we're in a small town, I still feel like there's most of the time there's enough business to go around and everyone has their own unique take on it. So that's special too that you got to kind of do that with a friend in a sense, a little friendly competition
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go a long way.
Yeah. Yeah.
After the year of the farmers markets, is that when you really decided to pull the trigger and start trying to dive into the event space?
Yes. So that's, the following year I was just doing deliveries and those personal and home deliveries for, bigger designs. And then a wedding popped up and it really just took my business to the next level. I was able to work at Park Ranch here
Amazing.
and we did a 4th of July wedding.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think you know Jessica Cartwright.
I don't know if I do. I recognize faces better
Yeah.
than names. So
Yeah.
sorry,
She's
Jessica, if you
so
listen and I say I don't know you.
she was so sweet, but she ordered these florals to her house. And so they came in a big box. And that was like our first challenge was okay, we didn't source the flowers, so we didn't have any control over what was coming in the mail and what they were going to look like when they arrived. And so I was really pleased with like, oh, look, we had this little trial. We made it happen and it came out so fun. And she had a red, white, and blue themed wedding. And that was kind of, it gave me the taste
Yeah.
of what I really wanted to do.
It's got to
that
be
was
addicting too to see the joy on a bride's face when you curate something so special and then to see
Mhm.
them so happy. I'm
Right.
sure it's addicting at that point.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because we only had like 3 or 4 hours to design on site.
That
So
is not a lot of time.
no, it's not. And I'm just so grateful it wasn't a bigger, event because you need more people. You just do. You
Yeah.
need more hands on.
Yeah. Did you do it by yourself for that first event?
So Taylor and I were working together then.
Okay. Yeah.
So we were able to really kind of use each other as a buffer, when little um, sideways incidents would come in and say, oh, I need this or that, or you get pulled away, you still have someone to keep pushing on.
Right, for sure. And that's a huge leap to just jump into it and say, I'll take on your wedding. I've never done one before, but there's no better way to get into a deeper level of your business than you
Yeah.
have to take that leap of faith, as cheesy as it sounds. But people
Mm-hmm.
don't realize, like, after you get over that nervous energy of the first event or whatever it is, then you're
Right.
like, okay, I got a
I'm
grip
good.
on this, and you can
Yeah.
always perfect as you go on. So it's a huge learning lesson for sure. What's kind of a big lesson or few lessons that you learned from that first event that you've taken with you through every other event that you do now?
It's prep time. Just giving yourself the time to feel calm and confident and not feel stressed, because when you feel stressed, you make mistakes and then things just they don't look the same that
Right.
your client envisions. And that's my biggest heartache, is when you bring something to your client and they don't like it.
Yeah.
And thank God that hasn't happened to me yet, but
Yeah, and I mean, that's business, right? You could be the best in your industry, and I think
things
there
still
will
happen.
always be an unsatisfied customer at some point. And I know that's a big struggle that I've faced through putting on my events as well, as like you put your heart and soul into something, and sometimes people do not acknowledge that, and you want to
Right.
wring their neck and say, "Do you understand the amount of work and blood and sweat and tears I put into this?" And
Absolutely.
that's such a learning lesson to be able to finally kind of put that noise aside, take anything that you can as, constructive criticism, but also stand strong and knowing that you're good at what you do
Yeah.
and you can't let the outside noise hinder your abilities too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that confidence, just
Yeah.
you're like, I know what I'm doing. And
Yeah,
going forward with
100%.
that confidence really changes what product you produce.
100%. And I think customers see it too, right? Like, I know
Yeah.
I've done it in the past where I was nervous about standing up for myself or something, and the customer can
Hmm.
see that. And you almost give them the upper hand on, like, maybe not walking all over you, but
Right.
thinking that you don't know what you're doing. So when you can come into it with confidence, they're like, okay, I trust you. I'll follow what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. And they wouldn't be coming if they didn't need you.
100%. Exactly. And that's something too I always have to remind myself with like the rodeo that we put on. Like,
Hmm.
not to say it in an egotistical way, but you need me, right? You need me to come to the event. And of course I need you, but you need me to even have an event to come to. So I have to
Absolutely.
hold that confidence respectfully
Hmm.
when it comes to dealing with customers. So I can't imagine you on those wedding days. It sounds stressful to say the least.
Well,
So,
it's more the prep, it's
yeah,
more the prep. I mean, you do the prep work, and when you show up on wedding day, there shouldn't be anything to worry about
right,
because you've
right,
already talked, and that's something that I really push with my clients is I am here to communicate with you. I'm going to be your best friend by the end of this.
right.
We're going to make something beautiful together, and we're going to check all the boxes. So
Right. And how much, like, what percentage of the job in total are you prepping at home versus what you're doing on site?
prepping at home, I would say probably 80%. Yeah, 80%. And it's something that I've been working at home and then also commuting to Sparks and using their design space as well. They've been so gracious with letting me use their facilities and their expertise. And that's really
Amazing.
helped me hone my skills. So,
So
yeah.
has that been a big kind of pivotal spot for you, really relying heavily on those resources to kind of give you some like creativity or help with things that you just haven't perfected yet?
Yes and no. I think that they just being available when someone, if you need something and someone's there for you, and that resource is always open, it's such a relief when you're designing. But a lot of times it's just like, wow, Kate, like, good job. This is coming together nice. Just having that kind of friendly co business
Right.
partnership. Great.
Well, with such a niche business too, it's probably hard to just find anybody around who like actually understands it and the work that goes into it, and to be able to get that positive reinforcement is like,
Right.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
doing a good job.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then also just sometimes it's hard to find those business people who are willing to share,
Yeah,
who are willing to
absolutely.
share and willing to give you their knowledge. And so knowing that I have someone I can lean on and say they are not afraid,
Yeah,
to say, no, you shouldn't do that, or okay, this would
absolutely.
probably make your business better.
Yeah.
So
Have you found other florists in the area who have you've been able to create kind of that friendly relationship with, where you share ideas, or is it still pretty competitive where nobody's really sharing ideas?
I don't talk to a lot of local florists just because I'm technically a mobile florist. Now, I don't have my own shop or anything like that, but that's kind of the way I like it. I want to be able to kind of independently design with clients opposed to waiting for clients to come to me.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was an issue I found with brick and mortar as well. It's like the sit and wait game
Mm-hmm.
really like it crushes your ego sometimes as a business
I,
owner,
it
and being
does.
able
It
to have
demoralizes
the
you.
yeah, and I mean you have kids, so it's probably so
Mhm.
nice to have that freedom as well, to be able to just hop in your vehicle and drive to somebody versus sitting in a store all day waiting
Right,
for someone to show up.
right.
So I
Yeah,
can't imagine.
yeah. And that's something that maybe eventually will do, but I would rather it be more of an open design space for our local customers.
Yeah,
So, hey, come in, buy your florals as like a wholesale environment and you can design here. That's like a
that'd be
dream.
amazing. That
Yeah.
would be huge. I can't imagine being able to take like your bridal party, show up
Hmm.
to a shop where you have your own appointment, nobody's around, and you just sit there and design with all of your people and be able to, what a fun experience that would be.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I could see that really like even being an idea in a sense for people who don't like to leave for bachelorette parties, almost incorporating that as part of your
Yeah,
bachelorette party.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think that would be amazing.
It would be really, I think it would just make it feel more of a special experience for brides too, because they have a part in something that they, get to walk down the aisle with.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. So after you decided, not to revert, but after you decided to jump into the event business, you do this first wedding. How are you taking on the advertising and really getting your name out there after this first one, and you know that this is the avenue that you want to go now?
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, marketing was not my thing. I had a really hard time with that. But most of my business was just word of mouth. And then recently I just partnered with a wedding planning company for Reno Tahoe Enchanted Events. Her name is
Well,
Amanda.
amazing.
And I love working with her. She's been so great. But anytime she gets a client and they don't have their florist set up yet, she refers them to me.
Amazing.
My business has really been booming this just past few months because of her. And I'm also able to go work with her as a coordinator and kind of see the back ends of weddings as well.
There's so many moving pieces to it too, right? Like
Yeah,
just being one vendor in a wedding is already stressful enough, but then it's kind of like to acknowledge the entire process of everything that goes into it
it's
on the
immense.
bride side and the coordinator side, right? That's
Yeah,
probably a huge learning lesson on how to streamline your process too,
right.
seeing all the moving pieces that go into it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where I'm at with marketing is just kind of this partnership has been marketing it me for them.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to kind of figure out how my business will play a role in her business as well and what that's going to look like in the future because it could potentially be an in-house florist situation, which is great for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say somebody who's listening and they want to jump into a business like this, or just even a niche business, the networking side is huge, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been, honored to go and meet with Weddings of the West and just visit with them with Enchanted Events and just meet all these incredible vendors. And they are so great about referring each other and just the dependence on each other has been this incredible family environment that I didn't
Yeah,
really realize existed with the wedding industry.
absolutely. What is Weddings of the West?
So Weddings to the West is like a co-op group. They meet once a month and they will go to different venues to visit and tour and get their names out there with that new business or existing venue and just share ideas and share experiences and things that they have gone through in the past month or year and seeing what works for them as a wedding venue vendors.
That's got to be an incredible resource to be able to rely on those people. And like you said, it's like a family's. It's such a small world when it comes to weddings, especially in our area. So I'm sure it's invaluable to have people like that who are willing to share ideas and tell you what's going on and things that they see. And I can't imagine too, is the wedding space, I'm sure, is the themes that people like to use and just the ever-changing aesthetic of weddings. Do you see that changing rapidly, or is that kind of go by a few years and then it changes a little bit?
I think it goes by a few years and then changes. I mean, everyone has their own taste. So you can follow a trend as long as you want, but you're going to put your own taste on it. You're going to put your own spin on it. Your venue is going to change the way that trend is going to appear. So that, I think, is invaluable with the types of locations and venues we have in the area. I mean, you've got everything from the Landing, which is like a luxury beachfront hotel, to Valhalla, which is that log cabin vintage style venue, to here, like Park Ranch or Ginsburg. So I think people can really put any spin on any trend.
Right. Is that refreshing for you? Because for people who don't know, we are right next to Lake Tahoe. So like you said, you have some incredible beachfront wedding venues. And then we also have in Gardnerville, where we're at, a bunch of ranch venues that have incredible space for weddings. And so is it refreshing for you to be able to have some kind of different creative avenues that you can go down dependent on all the venues that we have? Or is it almost exhausting to have to put your brain in different segments every single weekend, probably during wedding season?
Yeah. I think that having those different options is great. I mean, it's going to definitely expand your portfolio and it's going to give you a better knowledge base of your location as well. At Park Ranch, it gets really windy. In Tahoe, you have a bit of a buffer. So when it goes to mechanics and venue for florals, you really have to know what you're doing and where you're doing it.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about like the whole wind situation that we all deal with here in Nevada. Do you have like an emergency prep kit basically for the windy days of like, I don't know, glue? What do you use to make sure everything's secured?
Yeah, well, that's where the communication with your client really has to come through, because you either sacrifice and you do what client wants, or you find a better alternative. So, a lot of people love doing the bud vases with the, all over the tables and stuff like that. That's great unless you have wind, and then your guests are going to be in the, splash zone. So
100%.
I think that you can always fight the weather, but I like to work with it. So
much easier that way. I think we all learned that around here.
I just won't fight wind here.
Yes, absolutely. So when, I don't know if you're like how I am as a business owner, obviously different industries, but like I crash with creativity sometimes where I'm like, I can't come up with new ideas to save my life. Do you have a spot or a website or people that you talk to kind of refresh your creativity for like the ideas that you can give brides of what they can choose from and all those things?
My brain doesn't stop. So, it's mostly just me chatting my husband up and talking his ear off about like, oh, this would be so cool and we should build this and let's do that. Yeah. And, what I've realized is you can offer a client so many of your creative ideas, but they may not buy it. And, so I like to have a large, complex floral design process. That's just how I work. It's my brain, and I don't think I get to use it enough, So
yeah, absolutely.
I want to show more of what I can do and make things different and change the way that maybe people think about, oh, I could display my bar like this, Right. I have this crazy idea of building like a portable, like the 3-tier fountains. and then putting florals in it and then making it like a beer fountain
Oh my
where
gosh.
you put like ice and, just things like that, where
Yeah.
that's something that I like would have at my dream wedding.
I've never even thought about that. That's genius. And especially in this area. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's genius. Do you ever go to any of like the trade shows for weddings?
So I have in the past, yeah. I haven't gone recently.
Yeah. Do you
And
find those useful?
I like going. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's nice to see what's out there and what people are doing. I feel like with florists, I think they limit themselves when they go to these shows. So, they'll just put up a couple of vases and create a tablescape. But I did a park ranch vendor event 2 years ago, and I had this crazy idea to build this waterfall of flowers. It was the biggest thing at the event, so it was a little
Yeah.
embarrassing to bring it, but I was like, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
So I think that florists should go big,
I mean, if you're putting yourself out there, you may as well be the biggest and the best.
Right,
You
right,
have to set yourself apart somehow, other than probably the 10 other florists who are just bringing a bouquet or a tablescape or
right.
something.
Well, and and it's not like to bag on anybody, but it's like your customers are gonna see that they're gonna love what you make because florals are beautiful. But at the same time, they're going to find you at a cheaper price somewhere else. So why not just show like, hey, I can create something really cool for you, something that your guests are going to remember forever at your wedding. And you may not use this exact, display, but let's do something cool together. And I think that's, if you're going to throw a party, you might as well throw a party.
Be the best at throwing a party. I've always said that when we put on events or concerts or anything. I want to be the best.
Yeah.
Like, why put in all the time and effort if it doesn't look fantastic?
Or memorable.
So,
Yeah.
other than doing like these shows or, setting up at like Park Ranch for all the vendors to come, do you have like a lookbook that you give customers when they approach you of like, here's my past designs?
Yeah. So that's something that I am currently building. I'm building a new website. So that's something that I am trying to collect from past photographers and such, getting those really lovely, professional photos done. So it's something that I'm working on. My Instagram is kind of my only portfolio at the moment, but also that's kind of how I like it. I like keeping things personal and local. So yes, I will eventually,
Yeah.
but not at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you get a lot of customers from Instagram or is it more word of mouth?
I think it's both. Yeah. And recently, I just did a wedding at Valhalla, and I think I got a lot of feedback from that. And I felt so blessed, like, by just the appreciation, because you put so much love and hard work into something and you want someone to love it. And the Valhalla experience was great.
Absolutely. It's such a
Yeah.
beautiful venue.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to be there. I'm going to be there a few more times this year and get some more photos.
Yeah. So how many events are you doing since we are mid wedding season or about, right? So how many events are you balancing in a summer?
So, so it's going to be a mix of wedding planning and florals. I have about 13 weddings right now. So yeah.
Talk about needing organization.
Yeah. That's what's going on right now is we just bought a trailer and we're making that super fun and funky inside and a great workspace for me. And then next year we're building up a workshop at our house.
Amazing.
I got a big cooler I'm going to install and I'm really excited.
That is so fun. So how do you stay organized through these chaotic seasons?
Yeah. You're just using your basic mechanics. So you just kind of keep that all in one central location. And I, a lot of times, work out of Sparks. So I can use a lot of their resources there. But you're just clipping, installing mechanics, and then storing, your florals. So that's the basics of it.
Yeah. Do you use any special websites or technology or anything to keep organized all your events, when you need to contact people, deadlines, all of that?
Yeah, so I use Calendly for things, and obviously like Square was a great resource for just like small clients, but your regular basic Google Calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything to keep you organized is helpful, especially with a schedule like that. I can't even imagine. Have you had any events where you're like, wow, I will never do an event like this ever again?
Not yet. Fingers
Okay,
crossed.
knock on wood. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Do you come across some interesting personalities with the different vendors that you work with?
sometimes I think that people have to remember that we're all a team and we're all there to make these people happy. And so as long as you're working with people like that, you're going to have a smooth, great day. But sometimes, yeah, things, people don't like you working in this space at the time, and you just have to figure out how to navigate those type of personalities. And
Yeah,
thankfully, normally, and usually, I'm just there to drop off. I don't like working on site unless I absolutely have to, because I want to ensure that my delivery is going to be on time.
for sure. Huge thing when it comes to weddings. My sister was a wedding coordinator for a long time, and I just remember we're a big timeline family, especially when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
the rodeo and all the things. And yeah, people who are late, I can't stand it. How do
Yeah,
you run a business being late all the time?
I don't know. That would drive me crazy.
Yes, absolutely. So, what's been your favorite venue that you've worked at so far?
So the Virgil up in Reno is. Have you been there?
No, I haven't.
No. So I actually have a wedding coming up there, and it's stunning. It used to be a old church, and then it was a bank, and then it became a club, and then it
Oh my
became a wedding
gosh.
venue.
I feel like I know where this is at. Is it by Midtown?
Yes.
Wow, that's an interesting concept that they turn that into an event venue.
It has like the classic, stairs up to the church, and then it has these gorgeous rotating doors and black and white marble floor when you walk in.
Oh my
It's got
God,
a huge chandelier and it's all white inside. It's so beautiful. It's just like a classic wedding venue.
that's
And
amazing.
everything is always just so beautiful and seamless there.
Yeah, where's your dream venue to set up at?
I want to work at the Elm Estate in Reno.
I've heard of that one. Is that kind of on the outskirts of Midtown as well?
Yes, it's closer to the river, and it's a very luxury venue, but it feels very old Southern money. My family's from Alabama on my dad's side, so I
Okay.
just love that like classic White House look
Yes,
for events.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I'm hoping to get there one day.
Fun. Do you ever go to other places, like go back to Alabama to see family or anything and try and get some inspiration from different areas around there too?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my family is from Tuscaloosa, and so it's big football area. Football is like religion back there. But you've got the magnolia trees and just this gorgeous green landscape that is everywhere, and the historic buildings. All I want to do is just do some type of installment on one of those old historic, like Victorian homes
I
or
can't even
plantation
imagine.
homes. I just want to do that.
Yes, 100%. So would you ever venture off and do any other type of events other than weddings? Is there like a dream event that you want to do an installment at?
Yeah, I feel like weddings are hard to top. But I would love to see florals for Reno or at rodeo
Yes,
or
I
even a
agree. Yes, I that would be amazing to see like a big entryway. It'd give almost like Kentucky Derby vibes having
yeah,
that.
or even for the horses. I mean,
Yeah,
you you could always or things on the saddles if you're giving out a saddle as a prize or something or
yeah,
stall, we could always do something like that.
that would be so cool.
Yeah. So speaking of that, my grandmother did a saddle floral installment for Elizabeth Taylor's ranch. Yes. And so she got to do some really cool things there.
I can't even imagine. Has she given you insight into like what that day looked like, setting that up and leading
I mean,
up to it?
it's just you're just kind of like in awe when you get to do these things because you have all these goals and visions in your head when you're designing, and then you get there and you see it, and it's just like a breath of fresh air. Like
Yeah. I
we did
can't
it.
even imagine on the creative brain to be able to jump into a project like that is probably going to be like the Super Bowl for her.
Yeah, she's incredible, and she talked about she had this client who, um, and this is back in the day. It's very controversial now, but
Yeah.
she was a young Colombian girl, and she would say that her mom said you can either get married or you can go to school. And so she got married to a big rancher, and she used to drive this convertible around with a bale of hay in the back.
My God.
because she was just a horse girl, and she would put buckets of my grandma's flowers in the back of her little nice, Mercedes convertible. And
Yeah.
that imagery for me just really has stuck with me all these years. So
That is so cool.
you can get what you want, but you can also do what you love.
Absolutely. I think that is such a good lesson too. Like on the entrepreneur side, people, if you just take a step back and think outside the box, anything that you thoroughly enjoy doing can be made into a business these days.
Absolutely.
And I think people like limit themselves to kind of that concept of like, you go to school, get your normal degree, do, follow the white picket fence dream that your parents have. But it's something me and my dad have always fought on too, because I was always kind of the rebellious type when it came to college and businesses and all the things. And I'm like, I just want to do something that doesn't feel like a job at the end of the day. And a lot of people don't step out of that box.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm really fighting for in my life, is just, I want to do what I love to do.
Right. 100%. And you're a mom of 2 and you're still doing it. Yeah.
Somehow we're making it work.
It's incredible.
You have to have a good support team. My husband has been great about, you can work your 9-to-5 job if you want, or you can go do what you want to do. And I'm here for it. So I'm really grateful for that.
That is so awesome. So with your grandma working with such high profile clients, has she ever passed along to you any lessons on how you advertise or get into these big jobs with high-end clients like that?
Yeah. I mean, partnerships are everything. If you know another vendor that's working with them and they refer you, that is just because they're already trusting that one vendor. So if you are offering someone else's services to your client, they know they can trust you on them.
Right.
And so that is something that she has always said, find someone that offers good services and be their friend,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Work together. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Networking is like, I say it till I'm blue in the face when I'm talking to people about if they're starting a business or something. And I've said it before on my dad's radio show on live air, and it kind of sounded bad, but I said, even when you don't feel like talking to people, even if it's the last thing you want to do, you have to put on a fake smile sometimes and go shake hands. And you never know, somebody who looks like they don't offer much to your business could actually be the exact person that you need to meet to skyrocket your sales, your business, everything.
Yeah. And that's kind of funny, because that's how I met Amanda at Enchanted Events. Was a friend of mine. She's a photographer. She posted that she was looking for couples to do a wedding shoot at the Sunridge Golf Course. And so my husband and I, we eloped, so we never really got professional wedding photos. So I just teasingly said, oh, yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So we got selected to do these photos at the golf course. And that's when I met Amanda. And so we've been working together for over a year now, and it's been great.
So awesome. I love it. Especially in our town, you have to network.
You have to network. Yeah.
Yes.
And you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes, 100%. Drink that cup of coffee and just go talk to people. It'll be worth it in the end, for sure. So with your niche industry, again, I keep reiterating that because it's hard being in a niche industry. It's not your typical follow this manual. This is how you'll become successful.
Right.
What is your advice for people? It doesn't even have to be in floral, but when you have a niche industry like this, what's kind of some advice that you would give to somebody who's jumping into something like that when they don't know where to start, how to get customers, how to advertise themselves, whatever it is?
Yeah. I just honestly just keep doing what you're doing. Someone will see it, and if you have that confidence, it'll go places. And I wanted to quit so many times, and I couldn't bear to bring myself to do it. I felt like I was putting a dog down, just awful. So just keep working, just keep doing what you love, and keep putting yourself out there, and the right client will find you.
Yeah. So absolutely. Yeah. Consistency is key. I think as a business owner, I don't know what's worse, feeling so beaten down from no sales on a bad week or actually quitting, because we don't know how to quit some days.
No, I know. We keep dragging ourselves around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, just keep doing it. If it's what you love, why would you quit?
Absolutely. There's always going to be a will or way sometimes. I
Yeah,
mean, I know I've had to work 2 or 3 jobs at once just to keep the dream alive, but it's
right.
been worth it in the end. Once you
Yeah,
can finally bear the fruit of your labor, it's so worth it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So, what's kind of the legacy that you hope to leave with this business? Leave to your kids or to whoever it is?
Yeah. So, I, you know, I have a 2-year old and I have a feeling he's going to be the one that's going to want to work with me the most.
Yeah,
I got him a little shirt that says Mom CEO on the back because
I love it.
he dedicates my time for me.
Yes.
But no, the dream is to open up that wholesale design space for our locals, and I want to hopefully leave that business to my family and hope that the kids can keep the dream going and just be able to work in an industry that is actually fun. That it gives them an option to choose what they want to do with their life and not feel forced to go and work, an office job or go through college if they don't want to. So I want to give my kids the options that I didn't see for myself until
Right.
later. So,
Yeah. And that's huge too to give now that it's not so, I guess, taboo to have to go to college right after school or whatever, being able to provide that opportunity for your kids to not have to go to college if they find another route that they
mhm.
love, which is slowly, I feel like, starting to become a more talked about thing of going into the trades or something. It's such a huge conversation that I think a lot of our baby boomer parents are not ready for. And a thing I fought my dad on for so long, but kids
Yeah.
have to have that opportunity now to see all of the options that they have. Now we need more plumbers, electricians, florists for all of our events, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
And it's not just, floral design. I mean, you're working in a marketing job. You're also delivering product. You are doing builds and setup and new design pieces that may not be florals, but you're building an arch. You're doing those types of things and creating those type of skills,
Right? Life skills.
life skills, financial security strategy,
Yes.
how am I
How to
going to
do
get through.
bookkeeping.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that being a business owner is super underrated when it comes to a career because you have to do it all and you have to figure it out.
100%. I don't know about you, but I always joke that like all of my business skills I have now, I did not learn getting my marketing degree in college at
Right.
all. And it's all self-taught, but I was having this conversation the other day of nobody has an excuse anymore, though, right? We have Chat GPT at our fingertips. We have
Yeah.
Google at our fingertips. Nobody has an excuse anymore not to go learn more things, or, if you want to get into a niche industry, there's no excuse anymore not to have knowledge on it, not to have knowledge on how to do your bookkeeping, how, all these simple tasks that you don't learn in school, which we should, but you can learn it now on your own if you're dedicated enough.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's something that I don't think people realize when they start their own business, man, I have to actually do all this stuff.
Right. I think, at least in my opinion, and maybe it's just our area or how I started, I just feel like there's not enough resources sometimes as a small business owner, especially to like, I don't, my first business, gosh, I was 18 years old, and it's like you're just like thrown to the wolves and you expect somebody to like call you and tell you the next step, but there's nobody. So I think that could be another
Right.
amazing niche industry, even in our town, is just someone helping you start a small business.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something maybe we can start a class on that.
Right? A workshop for sure. I know I keep thinking about starting a workshop on just helping people. I feel like to a lot of business owners in our town, they're a little bit older. And so
Hmm.
helping people utilize AI with their small business. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but there's so many resources that people can use now that they don't realize
Right.
to
Yeah.
elevate their small business.
Yeah, and I think that that is a huge tool, especially with the up and coming businesses in the area that you can reinvent the wheel all you want, but sometimes you just have to get back to what works, what really built your structure. And so I think that, a younger crowd and the older business crowd could really benefit each other just offering that wisdom.
Yeah, 100%. Do you utilize any AI tools or anything for your social content or emails or anything?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. I overthink everything. So sometimes having something simplify it for me is great.
Yeah, 100%.
But also, you want to feel real too when
Yeah.
you're talking. someone. So
Yeah, there's a weird balance with that. I find that sometimes when I think I have like 10 Instagram accounts that I have to help run. And when I'm having ChatGPT make all these captions, I like have to sit back sometimes and realize this doesn't sound like me writing this. I gotta like fix this a little bit, even though it's nice, but there is a
yeah,
fine balance between all of that.
absolutely.
So, if anybody is interested in looking at your work or booking you or anything of that sort, what are some good ways that they can reach you?
Yeah, so I mean, you can always contact me through Instagram or email or text. I have all that available on there. And then when I'm building my new website, I'm trying to formulate it in a way of like, let's grab coffee.
I love
So
it.
you would sign up for a meeting date, it would schedule a call, and we would be able to talk just like this and go over your design inspo photos that you would have sent me in your little, yeah, you kind of fill out like a little portfolio, what you want. And then that way, when you go to schedule your coffee date, we're able to really know what we're talking about and know each other better.
I love that. That's a fun way to start building that relationship with somebody versus just through email and
Yeah,
really understand who they are.
florals are so personal. That's
Absolutely.
that's what I like to tell people is
Yeah.
you want me to work for you as a florist, then we're going to be friends.
Whether you like it or not, you're stuck
Whether
with
you,
me.
yep.
So, what is your Instagram handle for anybody who's listening?
Yeah, so it's floraco.designs, and you can find me on there or Facebook. And when you reach out to me, I'll immediately offer a few different ways to contact me based on what works for you. And then we'll schedule a call and we'll chat it up.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kate. I wish you nothing but success and hopefully a little peace within the busy season for you right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh, one more thing is I'm always scheduling classes I partner with CV Flight and we book classes for floral design and Christmas wreath designs. So that's something to look out for.
Fun. So fun. And do you know where to reach CV Flight and see their schedule for all of that?
Yeah, so you can reach them through their website at cvflight.com or on their Instagram or Facebook. And you can always book and see what classes are available there. And we'll probably be getting some of those classes later this fall when things start slowing down and people are looking for stuff to do.
Awesome. Yeah. Shout out CV Flight. They do a mix of things in our town and they are fantastic. So that's CVFLYTE.com, correct?
Yep, that's right.
vflight.com. Yeah, I attend one of their classes. I did the building a turquoise ring one time. Turquoise and tequila. They had margaritas and you built your own ring. So that was a fun time.
That's a class. Yeah, that's a good one for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kate. I appreciate you and all the success to your business.
Oh, thanks, Bailey. It's always nice to chat with you.
You too. We'll talk to you soon.